I hope you've enjoyed your rap break. And now I'm going to talk about the beast. The beast of Revelations is not an amphibian, but it is a mixture of everything: serpent, reptile, amphibian, mammal. Even though mammals are warm blooded, they also go into the water, like polar bears that swim. Now, as you can see, the mark of the beast is three numbers that cannot be confused with any other number. Okay? And remember, the mark of the beast has to do with church. Who came up with the church? The Egyptians. Remember the Oracle of Amun, the White Chapel, the Red Chapel? Remember how I told you how the church is called his father's house, and how Akhenaten said, I and the Father are one. Remember how Jordan Maxwell claimed that church comes from Kirk, which comes from Circe, which is Mother Circe, who is a wicked lady who tricks people into giving up their souls and lures them in. Okay? So, my argument is that you have a secret society that controls things by controlling the White House. It controls the African extortion. It controls the media. It controls the executive, legislative, and judicial branch. It controls the defensive department and the Air Force and Army and military. It controls the population control agenda of eugenics, as well as Planned Parenthood and the different eugenics societies which have evolved into other names. Obviously, they control the New York Times and the media, like I said. They control the weapons manufacturers, the military-industrial complex. They control everything. And in the end, it goes like this. Remember I told you about the Babylonian Trinity. I told you about the Pantheon. I told you about the Capitoline Trinity. I told you about how there's a place in California called Capitola, right by Santa Cruz, world-famous beach boardwalk. Why is it famous? It's famous for the construction of the boardwalk. And who constructed it? A bunch of free Masons. Now, all of you have been sitting there asking me to tell you what the mark of the beast is. The mark of the beast is a number. And it's a man's number. And the number has to do with death. Because God is life and love. So the Antichrist and the beast is hatred, survival instincts, and death. Now, whose number is 666? I'll tell you. The number comes from King Solomon. It has to do with the 42nd proposition. It has to do with Freemasonry and sacred geometry. Now, the ancient Egyptians did not have the concept for zero. So the 666 represents the equilateral triangle. And the equilateral triangle implies that the Father is the same as the Son, which is the same as the Holy Spirit. In Babylon, it implied that the Father was the same as Semirat, which is the same as the Son, Ninos, Tenos. And you had Nimrod. Okay? Nimrod, Semiramis, the great fisherman, the Holy Spirit. Now, you take the number when Muhammad died, 632 AD. You add that number with the year, with how old Jesus was when he died, 33 and a third. You take the number of months that it took Muhammad to die, you add them to the number of months that Jesus was alive, you get 33rd and a third plus 632 and 2/3. You get 666. Okay? So the Antichrist is Solomon, Muhammad, as well as the Catholic Church. Let me explain why. Who are the prophets who used the devil to persecute the Christians? Well, let's see. King Solomon built his temple by using demons. The Jews built their temple by ripping off the Gentiles and using Romans and pagan peoples. Muhammad declared war using the non-Christian people to invade the Christian land of Egypt, which at that point was run by a Christian nation, and you had Christian Coptics practicing there as well. So, the Antichrist is the equilateral triangle and the combination of three people: King Solomon, Muhammad, and the King of Kings of the Catholic Church. So, is King Solomon equal to Muhammad? And is that equal to the Catholic Church? Well, let's see. King Solomon was not the Christ. The Catholic Church was not the Christ. Muhammad was not the Christ. So, why do I give them the title Antichrist and equate them to the mark of the beast? Because it is the combination of the three that the Freemasons consider equal to the one. The three does not equal the one. The three take you away from the one. If you're a Jew and you follow Solomon and Moses, you do not follow Christ. If you follow Abraham, you do not follow Christ. And if you follow the Catholic Church, which is a bunch of Judas goats who waited 300 years after countless persecutions of Christians. They waited hundreds of years after all the disciples were dead. Then they said, we have killed all the Christians who would doubt our version of the story. They solved the problem of Paul and Barnabas and Paul and Peter and the debates they had over circumcision, over letting Jews and Gentiles into the church. They solved the problem of the disciples arguing about whose story was best, about how young Mark and young Judas, remember there was two Judases. One was Judas Iscariot, the traitor. You have to understand that the mark of the beast is a triangle. What is a triangle? It is three angles. What point of view is represented by the triangle? 3 points of view. What point of view is represented by the Christ? 1 point of view. Jesus said, I and my Father are one. He did not say, I and my Father are three. So who did say that God is represented by three people? The Babylonians, specifically the Babylonian mystery school, which evolved into the Catholic Church. Remember, they worshipped Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, the moon, the sun. Why did they worship those planets? Why did they worship those massive objects in the stars? And then in Psalms, it was written that the heavens declare the glory of God. Now think about it. Think about it 1 fucking second. What is behind the pyramid on the dollar bill? What is behind the pyramid on the flag of Japan? The Masonic flag. What is the flag symbolic of? What does the emblem mean? Well, I'll tell you. The Trinity is London Square, the Vatican, and Washington, D.C. So, what does the Trinity, the living Trinity, have to do with God? That's just it. It has nothing to do with God. Where did Egypt go to find the true religion? Before Jesus came to the point of view that there's only one true point of view, that the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the Sanhedrin were all wrong, that the temple Jews were wrong, that the rabbinical Jews were wrong. What conclusion did Jesus come to? He was alive during the time of the mysteries, during the time of the Jews, and he said, you're all wrong. He said, one day somebody will come to contradict me, and Armageddon will take place. Who came to contradict him? Muhammad. Muhammad came and said, Jesus did not die on the cross. He faked his death, and he used Judas to do it. So who did Muhammad cite as the real person who sacrificed his life so that we may live? The traitor. So who sympathizes with the traitor must be a traitor himself. So the mark of the beast is the number of a man. And that man is Muhammad. The reason why that man is Muhammad, because he worships the moon and not the sun, and he completes the Trinity. Before you had Jesus, you had the cross. The cross is two lines. The line that opposed Jesus was complete when Muhammad came and declared that he was the prophet, invaded Egypt with a sword. Abraham, Joseph, Jesus, Moses, none of them invaded Egypt with a sword. Muhammad and the caliphs who came after him invaded Egypt with a sword. Why? Because they are the Antichrist. They brought death. They brought confusion. They completed the Trinity. 666. The Father, Satan. The Mother, the vampiress Queen Semiramis. And the Son, the moon god Yah, the moon god Utu, Nanar, Nineveh. Who did they come down to represent? When you had Enki and Enlil in Babylon, who did they embody later on? The Arabic tribes, who were part of Babylon as well, and represented the chaos of living in the desert. You see, Lucifer is the prince of darkness, not the prince of light. Lucifer is from the moon temple, and so is Muhammad, the prophet, the Antichrist, the complete trinity of the moon temple. Thank you.